The first game of the first week of the 2022 high school football season kicked off last night at Ferris Stadium, where the MacArthur Brahmas, first year in 5A, taking on the Marshall Rams. First quarter, Mac down 2-0 after a Marshall safety, but not for long. On 3 and 18, quarterback escapes the pressure, throws deep downfield to Andrew Fitzpatrick for a 48-yard gain to the Rams' 28-yard line. Next play, running back Joshua Speed, great name for a running back. He turns on the speed for a 28-yard score, and it's 6-2 Mac. Does Marshall get the comeback? The final from Ferris, Marshall does it, 43-20. John Jay Mustangs kicked off their season last night against the Brackenridge Eagles at Alamouto Stadium. Mustangs already up 6-0 early in the first. Start to stampede over the Eagles. Handoff goes to Jack Mota, and he takes it straight ahead through the Eagles' D line and into the secondary, off to the races. But two Eagles close in on Mota, outruns them on his way to a 46-yard touchdown. Next Jay possession, quarterback Jackson Gutierrez keeps it on the option and turns it upfield, slips through the tackle at the line, and he's gone 54 yards to the final from Alamouto Stadium. Jay wins it 25-13. Other scores last night, Bernie wins against Corpus Christi Flower Bluff 35-32 in a close one. New Braunfels gets by Denton Ryan 34-33. Of course, the first full Friday night of high school football is tonight right here in Texas. Our big game coverage preview takes us to Lee High School, otherwise known as a legacy of excellence in education. Volunteers head coach Danny Cloza is welcoming back 10 starters off a team that went 1-9 overall, but their lone victory did come in that difficult District 28 6A that includes all of the Northeast School District teams, now Brandeis and Clark as well. The Vols will have 4 starters on offense, 6 on D, trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 1993.
It's like playing in the SEC. You know, you got Reagan and Johnson, Madison. You keep the list goes on. And then when they add Brandeis and Clark, you know, into your deal, and Marshall, so it's a tough for us. But so we focus on ourselves.
Well, this year, especially this off season, we took a lot of time into perfecting our craft and to getting the basics and fundamentals down. And all we did is work on that, and we just came together as a team and all bought in. So I have a higher expectation for the season than I did for last season.
Lee will kick off their 2022 football season tonight when they travel to Ferris Stadium to face the newest high school in San Antonio, Sotomayor. We're now one day away from the KSAT Pigskin Classic 2022, presented by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers. It's tomorrow in the Alamouto. All kicks off with number 4 Smithson Valley going up against number 5 Reagan, according to 12's Top 12. That's followed up by number 11 Judson facing off against number 6 Johnson. And finally, the big battle between number 1 and number 2 in the city when Brennan Bears host the Steel Knights. It all starts at 11:30 in the morning. Jonathan Cota will be live at the Alamodome this morning with a special preview coming up in our 5 o'clock half hour.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy day tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
Time now, 4:42 and 79 degrees for now. Still ahead, how investing in college insurance can help protect all the funds you put into yours or your child's education.
Up next, an exclusive first look where a 6-year-old's quick thinking helped her narrowly escape an alleged kidnapping attempt in broad daylight.
An Ohio family's doorbell camera video captured the terrifying moment when it appeared a man tried to abduct their 6-year-old daughter from their front yard. ABC's Ariel Reshef has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, an ABC News exclusive, a 6-year-old's quick thinking helping her narrowly escape an alleged kidnapping attempt in broad daylight.
It's forever etched in our minds, that scream.
The Ohio family's surveillance video capturing it all. You can see Kennedy just steps from her front door, taking out the trash. When the stranger appears, police say he tried to drag her, Kennedy letting out a piercing scream. The man quickly letting go, the whole encounter lasting less than 10 seconds.
I'm so proud of her.
And now Kennedy and her parents are sharing their harrowing story.
He wouldn't have let go of her if she wouldn't have pulled and screamed like she did.
Coming up at 7 a.m., more of our exclusive interview and what the girl's father did that helped police catch the suspect. With your GMA First Look, I'm Ariel Reshef, ABC News, New York.
It's no secret that college costs a lot of money. We're talking an average of $27,000 a year for a state school.
So how can you protect your investment? 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz looks at college insurance.
Amy Miller has 2 daughters headed off to college. Double tuition, room and board.
It's just very expensive, and it's an investment. So you're making an investment in your kid.
We're talking tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what if something goes wrong? First, there's tuition insurance.
If your child experiences a major health issue and has to drop out midway through the semester, in that case, the tuition insurance would refund you for the portion of it your child did not receive.
Most tuition coverage is only for serious health issues. Check to see precisely what's covered. You might not even need it, though, if your school has a generous refund and withdrawal policy. So check that first. Keep in mind, many don't offer refunds if you withdraw after the first month of the semester. So ask if there are exceptions for mental health or emergencies. Next, dorm insurance. Something to consider if your student has expensive stuff, laptops, phones, musical instruments.
Dorm insurance covers all the stuff that your kid may be taking with him or her to college. If something happens, it's one way that you can get coverage, reimbursement for loss, damage.
You may already have some coverage with your homeowner's policy, but dorm insurance will have a much lower deductible and may be the cheaper option. If living in an off-campus apartment, they will need renter's insurance. As Amy knows, where kids are involved, life is unpredictable.
We just kind of want to hope that everything's going to go smooth until it doesn't.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
And a quick look at the roads with TransSky looking out there at I-35 at New Braunfels Avenue. Kind of quiet, but things are moving this Friday morning.
Well, the question I have for Mike Osterhage right off the bat this morning, are we done with the isolated or scattered showers and thunderstorms for the weekend?
No, I mean, for the weekend, it's going to be really, really few and far between. We'll have a couple of them out there today, sort of like what we had yesterday, and then you can't completely take that off the table over the weekend, but odds are you're not going to see anything.
So leave it on the table. Don't move it.
Well, but just a little bit here and there. So I'm knocking it down to just 10% over the weekend. And, you know, one or two of them, basically a hot, humid weekend. Yesterday in Dehennis, nice start with a lot of clouds out there, and that's going to be the situation this morning over there at 410. We're looking kind of down to the southwest. There's downtown. Not a bad view. We do have some of our morning clouds hanging around here. 82 is the heat index right now. 81 Stinson, 79 up the road in Canyon Lake, and it just seems, I mean, the humidity is thick, and a lot of the moisture in the ground as well, which is helping out with that humidity, but not complaining about that at all. We'll stay in the upper 70s throughout the rest of the morning, and then make it up through the 80s by late morning, 85 at noon. And yeah, we'll start to see a 20-30% chance for one or two showers out there, just a stray shower, thunderstorm scattered about here and there. And going for 95 for high temperature today. We hit 93 yesterday, just enough sunshine. I think we see just enough sunshine again to get us up that high. Plus, humidity, dew points are going to be staying upper 60s, low 70s, which means we will have heat index readings to deal with, upper 90s and some low hundreds around here. So it's going to be a steamy day, and it's going to be a steamy weekend on top of that. Here's a computer model, and this one, morning clouds, some sunshine, and then again, one or two of those showers kind of popping up around the area later on this afternoon, few and far between. Still can't rule out a decent downpour if one or two of these pops up in your backyard, and then by the evening hours they'll start to die down. Some clouds starting off tomorrow morning, and this particular computer model doesn't even really scare up anything as far as any rain throughout the day tomorrow. But again, I don't think you can take it completely off the table as far as any sort of a rain chance around here. Just going a little bit further into the future, see what's going on here. Sunday, same situation, a scattered shower or two. Monday, about the same. Then Tuesday, we're going to keep some more clouds around here. Couple of showers scattered about. Then we get into the middle part of the week. And again, this is one of those broad brush computer models, so it's not raining everywhere, but this is the chance for some rain out there. And it does start to go back up Wednesday going into Thursday as far as some rain chances. So it's a good looking forecast. And as we were talking about off the top of the show, still no triple digits in this forecast. 86 at noon, partly cloudy skies, and then high temperature today is going to make it up to 95. That's the normal average. It's what you'd expect this time of year. A couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms out there, just one or two of them, and it's going to stay hot and humid over the weekend into Monday, and then more clouds. I'm going to bump it to a 40% chance for some rain by Wednesday and Thursday. So another another shot at something, which is really good news.
So car washes today, probably pretty good till later in the week.
Yeah, it should get about 3-4 days out of your car wash today.
Okay.
Okay, if anything, maybe it'll bring us some luck for more rain.
That's true.
Look at it, a win-win.
The Murphy's Law type car wash.
Right. And the forecast inside the dome looks excellent tomorrow.
Nice.
What is it, about 72 in there?
We're about to find out for quite a while. 452, about 78 degrees.
And still ahead, Meghan Markle debuts her new podcast, plus a first look at movies arriving at theaters this weekend.
Actor John Boyega talks about his new movie, Breaking, and Meghan Markle has a new podcast.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Leave right now. The guy in the gray hoodie is robbing the bank.
A former soldier hits hard times and robs a bank. That's the premise of the new movie, Breaking, based on a true story. John Boyega stars, and he says he was surprised to learn that in the U.S., there's an issue with military veterans not getting the mental health help they need when they return from combat.
That was kind of shocking because I thought that serving in the military, serving in the army is kind of like the number one in commitment you can show to your country. And so that should be awarded, right?
Breaking debuts today in theaters. Also in theaters, Mad Max creator George Miller is out with the new dark fantasy 3,000 Years of Longing, starring Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba.
I want to go home.
But this is your home. And The Invitation is a scary thriller featuring Game of Thrones star Natalie Emmanuel. Joe Rogan's podcast, Dethroned by a Duchess. Meghan Markle's new podcast, Archetypes, just dropped on Tuesday, featuring an interview with tennis legend Serena Williams, and it's already the #1 podcast on Spotify, knocking the Joe Rogan Experience out of the top spot. And Nope and Lightyear star Keke Palmer with a birthday today. She's 29, while two-time Oscar nominee Melissa McCarthy is 52. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
I caught Nope yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, kind of on the fence about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. 456, about 78 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, the latest on the FBI search at former President Donald Trump's Florida home. What a judge is expected to reveal about that case today.
And lots of high school football action coming up tonight and this weekend. We have a live preview of the KSAT Pigskin Classic presented by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers.
And still ahead on GMSA at 6, we are keeping an eye on KSAT.com. We're going to have a look at the news stories trending this morning.
And checking TransSky, 90 at Couples, where it is bright out there thanks to tons and tons of street lights. But things look really good right now. Stephen is in the house. We'll check in with him after the break.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning, I'm Jonathan Cota. We're talking about a full day of football, marching bands coming up on GMSA. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the KSAT Pigskin Classic.
I'm ABC's M1 in Washington. A federal judge ordered the DOJ to today release the affidavit that was used to support the FBI's raid of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Those details coming up.
And it's humid out there. Taking a look outside with live cam, 78 degrees. Mike says there may be a few showers here and there over the weekend. We're going to check in with him very soon.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, August 26th.
Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. Hope you've had a wonderful week. How was your week?
Very good. Flew by, which is kind of nice. Very excited about tomorrow and what's going to happen at the Alamouto.
Yeah, me too. And then, Mike, well, of course, the weather's going to be perfect in the Alamouto, but how about everywhere else?
Not bad. It's going to be a hot, humid weekend. We'll be up to just about the normal high temperature, and humidity, it's out there this morning as well. 79 degrees right now. Dew point stands at 72. A little bit of a wind out of the north primarily, and up to 95 later on today. A little bit warmer than yesterday. We did make it up to 93 degrees. As far as the aquifer yesterday, did go up 0.7 of a foot. Really benefited from some of that rain. Of course, still have some watering restrictions out there. You got to check with your area to see what those are specifically. Mold also went up yesterday on top of the day before, 14,850. Very, very high. Updated count's going to be coming out in just a little bit there. And football forecast tonight, by the way, some fall elm was showing up. Right around kickoff, about 7 o'clock, 92 degrees and halftime 88. Like I said, it's going to be a sultry evening, partly cloudy skies, and the sun's going to be setting just after 8 o'clock tonight. tonight. So good old South Texas kind of football weather. Heat index right now 82 degrees, 78 at Stinson, and throughout the rest of the morning, well, just very warm and humid. Then we go through the day, couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms out there, just one or two of them. Mid-90s for a high temperature today, and then mid-90s over the weekend as well. A shower. The odds, I'm putting 10% chance of rain on it over the weekend, but you just can't completely rule it out 100%. If you have outdoor plans, I wouldn't change them because of any rain chances. And then after a warm start next week, we are going to be seeing more rain chances move on in here. Decent shot of rain by the middle part of the week. Details in just a couple of minutes. And traffic authority, Stephen, good morning, sir. Happy Friday. Happy on the roads.
Happy on the roads and happy here, Mike. Happy Friday to you. But let's get a look around town. 410 at Jackson Keller. The morning commute has been off to a pretty decent start. You can see there at 410 at Harry Wurzbach. Just some light traffic, but other areas tends to pick up a little bit more than others. We saw US 90 as we went to commercial break. Pretty busy at this hour, and it looks like the streets also are well lit in that direction, but just drive carefully. There's no real need to rush out the door this early in the morning when there's really not a lot of traffic to show you. Taking you right there to the map, just more green on the screen is what we tend to see this early in the morning around 5:03. We're going to watch these areas closely, but keep in mind some of the areas that we do tend to see the traffic pick up at is where we have that construction taking place, and we'll bring you that information a little bit later on. But right now, if your destination is the Alamo City, let's check those travel times. I-10 westbound heading in from Seguin, it's 31 minutes at this hour. Usual time from Livonia to downtown SA, about 33 minutes in the northbound lanes, and about half an hour traveling up from Floresville. So no need to rush again if you plan on heading to San Antonio. But back here on TransGuide, traffic again off to a pretty decent start. We're going to bring you some updates on some road closures and what you need to know heading into the weekend. Mark, stuff.
Thank you, Stephen. Happening this weekend, the inaugural KSAT Pigskin Classic. 6 local high school football teams will be taking to the field at the Alamouto for an action-packed full day of football.
All right, Jonathan Cotto joins us live from the Alamouto, where it will all be taking place with everything you need to know if you're planning to head out tomorrow. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Mark. And that's right. This is where it's all going to be happening. And if you haven't bought your ticket, don't worry. There is plenty of time. But let's talk about what you can expect and, more importantly, what you need to know about KSAT's Pigskin Classic. Who's going to be taking the field? Let's show a graphic. We know that there are 6 football teams from around San Antonio who will be participating in the event, which is set to take place tomorrow. Brennan, Johnson, Judson, Reagan, Smithson Valley, and Steele High Schools will all be playing at the KSAT Pigskin Classic. The first of 3 games in the Pigskin Classic will kick off at 11:30 a.m. Doors will open to the public at 10:30. At 11:30 a.m. kickoff for Smithson Valley versus Reagan. 2:30 p.m. we have a post-game coverage with KSAT 12's Greg Simmons and David Sears. 3:30 p.m. you can expect that kickoff for Judson versus Johnson. And at 6:30 p.m. again, post-game coverage with KSAT 12's David Sears, Larry Ramirez, and Greg Simmons. And lastly, 7:30 p.m. the kickoff for Steele versus Brennan. Now, general admission tickets are good for all 3 games, and they are already on sale and can be purchased at Las Palapas, at all Las Palapas locations around San Antonio. On the day of the game, tickets can be purchased at both the Northeast and Southeast box offices here at the Alamodome, starting at 9:30 a.m. You can also purchase KSAT Insider VIP experience tickets for a perfect view from the press box, swag, visits from KSAT reporters and anchors, food, and so many more surprises. Now, all sports fans ages 3 and older must have a ticket. Now, Mark, Stephanie, all games will be broadcasted here on KSAT 12, the KSAT Plus app, Big Game Coverage app, and of course on our website, ksat.com. Reporting live from Alamodome, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. San Antonio area band's gearing up for the big football season ahead. It's extra special for a senior at Judson High School set to perform at the KSAT Pigskin Classic tomorrow. She says the entire experience of football is new to her. Her family migrated from Africa when she was a toddler, but they've adapted quickly to the culture, and their latest adventure is learning everything about Texas football.
First game, I was like, I have no clue what was going on. They all like on top of me, blessing. This is where they move. This is how they score points.
The senior is a color guard captain. She says she joined because she loves the movement and the combination of music with the performance. Well, of course, all the action is coming up tomorrow. Just scan the QR code on your screen for everything you need to know about tickets for the Pigskin Classic, the clear bag policy, and parking at the Dome. We also have this information on ksat.com.
Day 4 of the Michelle Barrientos Vela public corruption trial continues this morning, and during Day 3 of testimony, a county employee who worked for Barrientos Vela took the stand. So she is former Precinct 2 clerk Susan Tristan. She said the Precinct 2 constable's office had a chaotic make-it-up-as-you-go work environment. Now, Tristan told the court that she resigned in the fall of 2019, shortly after the Texas Rangers and FBI raided Barrientos Vela's county's office. Now, Tristan, a second civilian employee, told the jury about the destruction of paperwork and creation of new security agreements with Barrientos Vela was still in charge.
How do you know that the constable created this other security agreement?
I was there at the time when they were creating it.
And this particular document, there's some handwriting on it. Whose handwriting is that?
Michelle Vela.
But you are certain that the administration that told you to destroy documents was Constable Vela's administration?
That is correct.
Now, Barrientos Vela faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. This trial focuses solely on accusations that she tampered with park security logs and turned over fake records for them. Week 1 of this trial wraps up later this morning. We're going to cover the entire proceedings. You can watch them live on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, or on your YouTube channel.
The clock is ticking down for the Justice Department to make public a redacted version of the affidavit used to support the FBI raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home.
The judge set a noon deadline for the DOJ to release the document. ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from Washington.
This morning, we could find out why the FBI took the unprecedented step of searching Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. The Justice Department now facing a noon deadline to release its redacted version of the affidavit used to justify the FBI's August 8th raid, where agents seized more than 11 sets of classified documents.
It's an effort to strike a balance by the magistrate between, on one hand, the government's desire to keep its investigation intact and public's interest in knowing what this is all about.
The DOJ sticking by its argument against making the affidavit public, saying they're very concerned about the safety of the witnesses and warning that releasing it could jeopardize the investigation. But the same judge that approved the search says the department has proposed redactions tailored to serve the government's legitimate interest in the integrity of the ongoing investigation.
If all of that evidence is disclosed to the public, then the Department of Justice is very concerned that the investigation will be impeded.
Back to the public affidavit we're expecting later today. Experts say they believe it will include little meaningful information with pages of blacked out lines. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
509, 78 degrees.
And still ahead, why Instagram will soon start limiting some content for some of its new users.
A warm start to our Friday. Do you need an umbrella for Friday night football out there for high school games across our huge viewing area? Mike Osterhage will have your weekend forecast coming up. 5:13 on your Friday morning. Welcome back. Instagram updating its safety control feature that will restrict inappropriate content to teenagers. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Instagram is limiting sensitive content for new users under the age of 16. Those accounts will have the most restrictive setting by default, aimed at shielding teens from inappropriate content like sex and violence. Instagram will recommend that existing teen users also make the switch. Twitter is testing a new version of its Spaces tab that will offer podcasts. The tab will include titles from Vox, NPR, and other sources. The podcast will be broken down by category and be featured alongside similar spaces. And something new from Instacart that might inspire your picks at the grocery store. The new feature will use influencers to make your shopping list. It's called Carts and will display items on celebrity shopping lists. Rapper Lizzo will be one of the first appearing in an ad showing her using the app while sitting in her bathtub. Wonder if those influencers will get paid per DM. Per DM. Those are your Tech Bites.
Cute.
Some time to have a whole new appreciation for Andrew Dimbert.
Yeah, I liked it.
5:14, 78 degrees.
Let's look outside with TransGuide real quick. Looking at Loop 410 at Harry Wurzbach. A few more vehicles on the roadways this Friday morning. We're going to be checking in with Steven Cavazos after the break.
If you haven't tried Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray, what are you waiting for? It's Dawn's fastest and easiest way to clean everyday dishes. On simple messes, just spray, wipe, and rinse. On tough messes, its spray-activated suds have 5 times faster grease cleaning power to break down grease without water. Plus, its targeted spray cleans even hard-to-reach places better. So, replace your dish soap with Dawn Power Wash and spray your dishes clean.
Ugh-stipated. Feeling weighed down by a backed-up gut. Miralax is different. It works naturally with the water in your body to unblock your gut. Free your gut and your mood will follow.
This feeling of certainty comes from inspiring your customers and expressing heartfelt thank yous with promotional products people love from the experts at 4imprint. Enjoy that feeling of certainty at 4imprint. 4imprint, for certain.
517.
Let's go ahead and check back with Stephen Cavazos. I saw earlier things were moving, Stephen.
Things are moving just fine over here. Let's get a quick look around town. There is 1604 at Valley Meadow. Really just some light traffic this early in the morning. And I would say that anybody that has to head out in the next few minutes or so, just ease into your Friday morning. Enjoy your cup of coffee. Don't just chug it. Try to enjoy it at home. Right now, there's really nothing that's going to hinder your commute this early in the morning. I-10 at Hackberry, you can see that traffic is off to a pretty easy start. Now, while the map's not showing any slowdowns just yet, you may have noticed that there's been a lot of work taking place here along I-35, and that is part of the Northeast Expansion Project. We are already in the first phase, according to TxDOT, and we're going to continue to see some work overnight, at least up until tomorrow evening. Now, striping and barrier work has been ongoing, I should say, since August 21st, and will continue up until Saturday, August 27th. This will start at 9 in the evening and wrap around 5 in the morning. So just keep that in mind. We know that there is always a ton of work taking place along 35, and it's one of those pretty heavily congested corridors, but this is all meant to make the area a better place. So we'll be seeing multiple lane closures along with the entrance ramp at I-35 southbound between Judson Road and O'Connor Road. But if you want to know what areas you can avoid, or maybe want to just kind of navigate through this weekend, grab your phones and scan that QR code that has all the information you need to know. It'll take you directly to the KSAT traffic page and has a full list of closures at the bottom of the screen. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen.
Very good. But let's check in with Mike. Oh, we see some rain totals there.
Yeah, this is from a couple of days ago. This was posted yesterday, so the day before's rain, 1.5 inches. You know, a lot of folks picked up a whole bunch, and that's still going to be the situation today, that if you get 1 or 2 of these showers to pop up later on this afternoon, you still can have a pretty hefty downpour because of all the moisture in the atmosphere. Speaking of which, it's really making the humidity something to notice this morning as well as in the afternoon. Beautiful view, though. And we're going to be staying in the upper 70s, mid to upper 70s, which is the situation right now, thanks to the humidity, the cloud cover out there. A little bit of sunshine as we go into the early daylight hours, I should say, once the sun finally comes up just after 7 o'clock this morning. And then 85 at noon. We're going to have a 30% chance for, again, a stray shower thunderstorm, kind of like what we had around here yesterday. Some folks saw a lot more sunshine. We had enough out there at the airport to get up to 93 degrees, and we're going for 95 later on today. Again, that 30% chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm or 2. Satellite picture, obviously there's not much going on. One thing to take note of is the flow that's been coming in here from the north. We've got a little bit of a breeze out of the north, and that's what, with this clockwise rotation out here to the west of us, that's what's been taking these little disturbances up here to the north and sending them down through and giving us those rain chances, and that'll be the situation again today. Here's the computer model. A couple of morning clouds out there, and then by early afternoon we get that flow coming out of the north. 1 or 2 of those showers trying to pop up here or there. Again, they'll be few and far between. It'll be kind of just a luck of the draw as to who gets some of that rain. And like I said, 1 or 2 will have a fairly hefty downpour associated with it. And then going into tomorrow, we start off with some clouds, then a lot more sunshine in the afternoon with a few clouds mixed in there. And this particular computer model doesn't even indicate any sort of rain tomorrow. So you can't completely take it off the table, but still, it's 10% chance at best. And that's going to be the situation Sunday. It looks like Monday. But then after that, we have a slightly better chance for some rain as we go on into the middle of the week. So here's one of the long-range models. And again, a stray shower or 2 here or there on Sunday. Maybe the same thing on Monday. Then Tuesday, a lot more clouds around. A couple of more showers are going to be popping up here. And same thing as we go into the middle of the week, Wednesday as well as Thursday. Not raining everywhere, but a better chance for rain going into the middle part of next week as we close out the month. Yeah, 1st September already by next Thursday, if you can believe. 86 degrees at noon, partly cloudy skies, and then a high temperature up to 95. Right about normal. A couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms out there. So yes, we will be closing out the month of August with no more triple-digit temperatures at or below normal readings, and then better rain chances to finish up the month and to start off September. It's funny to say September already.
Oh.
It's not funny. It's actually it's nice. It's kind of nice.
I know, but it's like, wow.
Maybe
Yeah.
August went by quick because we had a little bit of relief.
I think so. It wasn't just that day after day like July and June were.
Sure. And nobody wants to talk about July. Let's put that in the rearview mirror, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
522, 78 degrees.
And coming up next in your morning spotlight, John Hamm replaces Chevy Chase, that's Fletch, and John Boyega talks about braking.
Your Lotto numbers this morning. Pick 3, that one's easy. 0, 0, 0. Fireball 1. Daily 4 numbers. 1, 4, 2, 2. Fireball 8.
Yeah, I like that pick 3. Cash 5, 8, 20, 31, 33, 35, and Texas 2-step 6, 16, 24, 26. Bonus ball 22.
Heading to the movies this weekend, we've got a look at a new film in theaters and previews of 2 more in the works.
Here's CNN's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
I looked into your criminal record. And? You're a bit of a shady character, Mr. Fletcher.
But I am adorable.
Fletch is back. Here's your first look at John Hamm as Irwin M. Fletcher in Confess, Fletch. This time out, Fletch is a murder suspect, which gets in the way of his search for a stolen art collection. The comic adventure arrives in theaters and on digital and VOD September 16th.
I'm excited about it.
Brandy Norwood is returning to the big screen. The actress and singer is set to star in the psychological horror film The Front Room, about a young pregnant couple who take in an ailing, long-estranged relative. Directors Max and Sam Eggers adapted Susan Hill's short story for their feature filmmaking debut.
You lie.
No, sir.
You lying to me right now. I can hear you. You lying. I can hear it in your voice.
Breaking star John Boyega says he was drawn to the focus of the fact-based hostage drama.
When you emphasize the circumstance and the action, the guys with the guns and the negotiator and all that kind of stuff, you make it about intensity. But then reading the script and finding that was kind of pushed to the background of this, and the forefront was character, an actual character arc. I was like, yeah.
Breaking opens in theaters today. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
It's now 5:27.
And still ahead on GMSA, how Republican lawmakers are reacting to President Biden's student loan relief plan.
The KSAT Pigskin Classic 2022, presented by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers, is coming up tomorrow. Jonathan Cotto standing by at the Dome with a preview of the halftime performances just ahead. As more Democrats support President Biden's latest student loan relief plan, the White House struggling to address GOP concerns about the cost and inflation.
Good morning, I'm Jonathan Cotto, live outside of the Alamouto place where the KSAT Pigskin Classic will be taking place. Coming up on GMSA, we'll be talking to you about football and, of course, marching bands. Details coming up.
Doctors are working to save the life of the man who was shot while working on his car. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have that story.
And we're starting off your Friday morning pretty humid right now, 78 degrees. We are expecting more humidity throughout the weekend as well.
And a good Friday morning to you. It is August 26th.
And that is a good news. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, we've had a pretty mild weather week though.
Feel that good vibe? That is high school football, which kicked off last night, continues tonight, and then, of course, the big games tomorrow inside the Alamouto, Mike Osterhage, and I know you're ready for a long day of football.
That's going to be fantastic. 6 great teams out there, and like Jonathan was just talking about, all the bands, the halftime shows, because not only, first game for the players, but also first time all those bands are going to be taking the field as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun time tomorrow. Good thing it's going to be inside too, because boy, it's going to be humid over the weekend like it is right now. 79 degrees, dew point stands at 72. Plenty of moisture out there in the atmosphere. Wind, light wind out of the north to northwest, and heat index right now, 82 degrees, 85 in Port SA, 78 Stinson, and 69 up there in Comfort. So actually not bad up the road in parts of the hill country. Mold is extremely high. The updated count is going to be coming out in a couple of hours, but it had gone up for the third day in a row, 14,000, almost 15,000 on mold. A little bit of fall elm is showing up as well. We're going to make it up to 85 at noon. Have some clouds hanging around here still, and then we will see a couple of showers, thunderstorm thrown in, one or two of them like we had around here yesterday, about a 30% chance for some rain. We're going to make it up to 95 high temperature. And then over the weekend, not only is it going to be humid, it's going to be staying right around 95 degrees and a shower or two, but even lesser chances for rain going into tomorrow, Sunday, as well as Monday. Then rain chances are going to be picking back up going into the middle of next week. Details and great way to wrap up the month of August. Details coming up in a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, anything yet, Stephen?
Nah, nothing major, Mike. Actually, just seen a few more folks out there this early in the morning. 281 at St. Mary's. Let's get a look at your Friday morning drive. 37 at Houston's not looking bad. And US 90 Nogalitos. Traffic picking up there, but that's normal because we see a lot of people that drive in from Castroville in those eastbound lanes. So just always expect that. We have those areas where we see those pockets of slow moving traffic. In other areas, we will see it pick up. But we do want to take you to the map because no red or yellow is showing to indicate any slowdowns in any directions. However, we know that people that are traveling to the Alamo City need to know how long it's going to take them. We are seeing about a 25-minute drive time right now. That journey from Bernie in the eastbound lanes of I-10 will take a little bit longer, but 28 minutes on 281 southbound traveling in from Bulverde. That's a little bit of a slowdown there, but nothing major just yet. And a 28-minute drive time on I-35 southbound heading in from New Braunfels. So it doesn't look like that work that's been taking place out there is really causing an impact for the traffic out there. So just keep all these things in mind. It's not going to be anything major just yet, but it'll pick up a little later on. 410 at Harry Wurzbach right there. Things look pretty decent so far. And if you have weekend road trip plans, we'll have some gas prices and updates for you coming up in the next few minutes. Mark, stuff.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, a man who was trying to fix his car now has doctors trying to save his life. He was shot by someone at an apartment complex on the northwest side near Loop 410 and Evers Road. Katrina Weber is there and has a live report. And Katrina, do police have any idea who shot him or why?
It seems right now they don't have a whole lot of answers. The only description they had of the shooter is that he was wearing baggy clothing. Now, that shooting happened here at the Amber Hill Apartments, and although things look very quiet right now, that was not the case just a few hours ago. Police had the whole street blocked off in front of this apartment complex. They got the call about the shooting before midnight. Officers told us the man, who's in his 20s, says he was working on his car when he heard a bang, then realized he'd been shot. He was rushed away in an ambulance, and based on what police told us, things did not sound very good. They said that that man was in critical condition after being shot. Reporting live on the northwest side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Katrina, thank you very much. In other news happening this weekend, where there's football, there are marching bands. The inaugural KSAT Pigskin Classic at the Alamouto will be hosting a number of bands that are sure to bring excitement.
Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live outside the Alamouto this morning to talk to us about what we can expect. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Mark. And that's right, the very first KSAT Pigskin Classic happening right here at the Alamouto tomorrow. And as you mentioned, what's a football game without a marching band and an incredible halftime show? Folks can expect not just one, but 6 local marching bands with incredible student musicians. You can expect to hear the sounds and drum lines from Brennan, Johnson, Judson, Reagan, Smithson Valley, and Steele High School bands who will be taking the field here at the Alamouto for a performance at the KSAT Pigskin Classic halftime show. And here's what you need to know: how the anticipation for the halftime show builds. Here are the windows. The halftime game number 1 will be from 12:45 to 1:05 p.m. between Smithson Valley and Reagan High Schools. The next halftime game will be from 4:45 to 5:05 p.m. The halftime game 3 will be from 8:45 to 9:05 p.m. between Steele and Brennan High Schools. Now, the Associate Director of Bands at Ronald Reagan High School, Catherine Furr, shared with us that the show is going to be exciting, unique, and something you will have to see for yourself, adding people will walk away feeling moved by the students' performance. Now, general admissions tickets are already on sale. Again, you can get your tickets for the KSAT Pigskin Classic at all Las Palapas across San Antonio, and of course here at the Alamo Dome itself. Today, and tomorrow. Reporting live outside of the Alamouto, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan. All the action coming up tomorrow. Scan the QR code on your screen for everything you need to know about the KSAT Pigskin Classic, including the clear bag policy. And parking at the Dome is not free. $20, credit card only. We also have this information on KSAT.com. Millions of Americans could see thousands of dollars each in debt relief under that new initiative we've been talking about this week. The White House now revealing its estimated price tag for the student loan forgiveness plan.
However, Republicans say it could cost the country more than just money. CNN's Amy Kiley reports on the reactions.
Student loan relief. 40+ million people have had a weight lifted off their shoulder.
Many Democrats are backing President Joe Biden's latest student loan relief plan. It gives up to $20,000 of federal student loan relief for anyone below an income cap.
What's happening right now in America is that it's working great if you're born into a family that's well-to-do, but it's not working great for the rest of the folks.
Some progressives want the plan to go further.
We want to see colleges have skin in the game.
I'm going to continue to work to pass my apprenticeship bills.
But even some Democratic economists say the plan could increase inflation. Republicans say they're worried about the cost.
Fundamentally, when we borrow money, we ought to pay it back.
It's going to be about $24 billion per year.
The White House is lashing out at GOP critics whose businesses took Paycheck Protection Program loans. But those aren't the only Republican objectors. Some conservatives say taxpayers who don't have debt shouldn't foot the bill for those who do.
It's very unfair, to have a truck driver have to pay back a loan from somebody that got like a PhD in gender studies.
Does this create a slippery slope? Does this mean that students in the future are going to start to expect loan forgiveness over and over again?
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Los Angeles police have released body cam video of one of their officers saving a child's life. The scary incident took place at the Harbor Station Tuesday when a child became unresponsive. Here it is. It's not clear what the medical emergency was, but Officer Nick Ferrara immediately started CPR. The procedure helped revive the child, who was taken to a local hospital. He is expected to make a full recovery.
A flash flood washed out part of a freeway in the Southern California desert on Wednesday. Dramatic video from the scene showed a huge gap in the road caused by that washout. It happened on eastbound Interstate 10 in the desert center after a thunderstorm brought pounding rain to that area. The vital route is one of the main arteries in and out of Southern California. It is not the first time flash floods have severed that route. In 2015, the freeway was brought to a standstill when all eastbound lanes of the interstate were washed away by a river of rushing water.
Actress Nichelle Nichols spent part of her life pretending she was in outer space in Star Trek, and now the late actress will spend eternity there. Celestis Memorial Space Flight's announcing it is launching Nichols' remains into deep space. The company which offers Memorial Flight says her ashes would be on board the Enterprise flight later this year, so she'll be a good company with the remains of fellow Star Trek icons Gene Roddenberry, Majel Barrett, Roddenberry, and also James Scotty Doohan. Nichols died July 31st from heart failure. She was 89 years old.
And time now, 5:40 and 78 degrees for now.
Why tensions between FedEx and its third-party contractors could have a big impact on deliveries this upcoming holiday season.
Also next, we have a fun way to show off your furry friend today on KSAT 12, plus details about a free pet adoption event.
Outside with live cam, a hot, humid weekend, but that's okay because most of you are going to be inside with the Alamouto with us tomorrow for one of those, or all, hopefully all three of those high school football games at the KSAT Pigskin Classic. We'll be back. 5:43 today is National Dog Day, and of course many of us can use any excuse to show off photos of our furry family members.
And you can do that today. Just submit your photo and a sentence or two about your pup for a chance to be featured on air. So KSAT News Now will share some of the photos later this morning, while journalists Alicia Beretta and RJ Marcus visit the San Antonio Humane Society to celebrate the national holiday. So just head to this story right now on KSAT.com. KSAT News Now starts at 11 a.m. and you can watch on the KSAT News app, YouTube, and on KSAT.com.
In honor of National Dog Day, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling hosting an adoption event for San Antonio Pets Alive today. Animals that are currently in foster care will be present and available for adoption. The best part, all cat and dog adoptions are free. The event runs from 1 to 6 p.m. at the City of San Antonio Animal Care Services Annex and the San Antonio Pets Alive Building 1 Rescue Center. For more information, visit sanantoniopetsalive.org. I hope you can take part in that.
Yeah, it's a good time to do that. Time now, 5:44 and 78 degrees for now.
Up next, why your kids may soon be attending more virtual concerts courtesy of Fortnite.
And welcome back. It is 5:47 now. In your morning consumer headlines, tensions between FedEx and its third-party contractors could have a big impact on deliveries this holiday season. A group of contractors working with FedEx Ground has threatened to shutter their operations right before Black Friday. The group is pointing to higher costs for fuel, trucks, and driver pay as issues hurting the contractors. Many businesses are in the process of forming a trade group to pressure FedEx to improve their compensation packages. FedEx Ground said in a statement it is, quote, committed to working with service provider businesses individually to address the challenges specific to their situation.
iHeartMedia is bringing virtual concerts to Fortnite. The media giant launching its own dedicated space called iHeartLand to host events and concerts. The virtual park being developed using the game's creative mode is aimed at attracting younger audiences. The virtual world currently has 20 events planned over the next 12 months. They kick off with a pre-recorded performance from singer Charlie Puth coming up on September 9th.
Dunkaroos is now launching a new flavor, orange sherbet frosting. Wow, it is a classic vanilla cookies paired with orange sherbet frosting, and the flavor is available for a limited time at some grocery stores, 7-Eleven, and some other gas stations across the U.S.
Time check, 5:48.
Go ahead and check in with Stephen Cavazos. Will you be trying those Dunkaroos?
I do love orange sherbet, actually, so it's actually a favorite of mine. Maybe. But we know right now probably people are getting out there this morning to grab that cup of coffee before their day really gets going. Thankfully, the commute looks pretty good there at 281 at St. Mary's. We saw a lot of slowdowns over the last few days in that particular area of town, but there at US 90 at Nogalitos, things look fine. Now, the roads are also dry, so that's some good news. Just remember to take it easy out there. As we take it to the map, it's the same situation we've showed you the last few times. Just a lot of green on the screen. No slowdowns that we're picking up in any of these areas just yet. But as I mentioned, if you have any weekend road plans, or road trips, I should say, hey, check out these gas prices here. This is from AAA, reported as of today. Now, the average gas price in Bexar County is $3.28, and in Comal County, we're actually seeing $3.31. And for our neighbors in Guadalupe County, $3.30. And actually, AAA also reports as of August 22nd, Texas actually has one of the least expensive gas markets. So that's some good news, and hopefully drivers can find more relief at the pump in the days ahead. But as we get one last look here at TransGuide, definitely seeing some relief on the roads. Feels good to say that.
Yes, it is.
Indeed. That's a nice change. Mike, what you have over there?
Yeah, interesting. Our regular Yvonne didn't get much rain over the past couple of days, and that tells the story pretty well that some folks, you get some of these showers, you get heavy downpours in the past couple of days. The airports officially had just about 1.5 inches, close to 2 inches of rain. But then again, some folks haven't seen much of anything. A little bit of a chance of rain today, and then over the weekend, lesser chances, but rain's going to come back into the picture later on next week. Got some clouds hanging around here over there, 10 at 410. As you can see, well, traffic's moving along pretty well. No problems out there. We haven't shown this graphic in a while. Yes, we are holding at 58 days in second place with the triple-digit temperatures, of course, going back to 2009 with 59. And there's no triple digits in the forecast. That's good news. We may just be stuck at 58, and I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. 79 degrees right now, 74 at Divine and 76 Canyon Lake. And throughout the rest of the morning, we're going to stay pretty steady. Some of the clouds out there, humidity is helping to keep temperatures real steady. We're not going to drop down that much more. Make it up through the 80s by mid to late morning, 85 at noon. And then we'll start to see 1 or 2 of those showers just kind of popping up here or there. It's not going to be a real widespread rain event, 30% chance for rain, about like what it was yesterday. So some folks, a lot of folks aren't going to see any rain, maybe a lot more sunshine, and then other folks will get 1 or 2 of those showers with thunderstorms, even a couple of decent downpours. We are going to make it up to 95 today. We hit 93 yesterday, which was up just a notch or 2 from the previous day. And again, I think this computer model pretty much sums things up very well with early afternoon, 1 or 2 of those showers popping up here or there, moving across the area. A lot of folks don't see rain today, and again, 1 or 2 decent downpours, and then that's going to pretty much be it. I don't think you can completely take rain off the board over the weekend, but rain chances will be about 10% or so. Okay, out there in the tropics, there is a pretty decent batch of clouds way over in the eastern Atlantic. So the Hurricane Center is sort of looking at that 10% chance that it could develop, as well as this little batch of clouds right there by the Lesser Antilles, just off the northern coast of South America. And that one, again, 10% chance that it could develop into something, move into the Caribbean there. So we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on those things as we go on in. Of course, the peak of the hurricane season, even though we haven't had anything in weeks and weeks and weeks, the peak is coming up on September the 10th. 86 degrees at noon, partly cloudy skies, and then high temperature is going to make it up to 95 later on today. A normal high, this is the average this time of year. 1 or 2 showers, a couple of thunderstorms out there. Most of us, again, won't see rain today. Even fewer of us see anything tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, 10% chance of something popping up out there. Then rain chances bump up going into the middle of next week. So we will still stay at 58 degrees of those nasty triple digit, 58 days of triple digit temperatures, pardon me.
Okay, don't you tease me with 58 degrees. That's not fair.
No, I know. Sometimes that graphics up there and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We can appreciate wishful thinking, though. We know 58 degrees is going to happen at some point.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it right now. The leaves are changing somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan and New Hampshire.
Exactly,
North, but
exactly.
It'll happen for us one day.
It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. Be patient. 5:53, 78 degrees.
Let's look at your winning lotto numbers. We have pick 3, 0, 0, 0, Fireball 1, Daily 4, 1, 4, 2, 2, Fireball 8.
You said 2, 2. Cash 5 numbers 8, 20, 31, 33, 35. Texas 2-step 6, 16, 24, 26 with a bonus ball of 22.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, the latest on new developments in the Mar-a-Lago search fallout. The key document justifying the FBI raid on former President Trump's Florida home is set to be released. Now we'll get into where the investigation might be headed next. And we have an exclusive interview with the family of a 6-year-old girl who narrowly escaped an attempted abduction, all caught on camera. The family's message for all other parents this morning. And Elton John and Britney Spears dropping their much-anticipated collaboration overnight. We're going to break that down. And you don't want to miss our GMA Summer Concert Series, Ozuna, performing live in Central Park.
You've been hearing about the KSAT Pigskin Classic every day this week. Have you heard about the scholarships that come with it? 12 students are receiving a $4,000 scholarship to help pay for college. The students range from athletes to musicians or performers taking the stage during halftime. We have an article featuring those students right now on KSAT.com. Ahead the next hour, GMSA, we've got new details on an arrest of a shooting that happened almost a year ago. We'll look at the charges and what police are saying now. Plus, Katrina Weber joins us with new details on an overnight shooting. She's live with more on that incident on the Northwest side. And lots of high school football action coming up tonight and this weekend. Jonathan Cotto standing by at the Alamouto with a live preview of the KSAT Pigskin Classic. That's coming up. Checking the roads, though, first things first. 281 there was looking pretty good. There's 1604 at Valley Meadow and I-37. There's I-10 at Callahan. These cameras are going quick. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Good morning, I'm Jonathan Cotto. It's the inaugural KSAT Pigskin Classic happening here at the Alamouto. Coming up on GMSA, we'll talk to you about everything you need to know, from parking to the clearback policy, and also where you can get your tickets.
Also this morning on GMSA, a man shot overnight on the city's northwest side. What police are saying about his condition right now.
A quick look outside with live cam this Friday morning, starting off humid. Expecting just a very few showers over the weekend, but it's going to be just mainly humid Saturday and Sunday as well.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning. Congratulations, everybody. We made it to Friday. It's August 26th.
Yes, we did. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. I know we're excited about the KSAT Pigskin Classic, but at least there we will not, have to worry about rain or humidity.
It's an indoor venue, which is a good thing. Yeah. Because it's going to be a hot and humid weekend, according to Mike Osterhage.
Yes, we're looking at 95 today. That's the average normal high temperature in this time of year, and 95s over the weekend. And with all that humidity, it's going to feel a lot closer to 100, even some heat index readings up in the low hundreds this weekend. Nice start this morning, but yeah, it is fairly humid out there. We got some of our morning clouds. We are holding at 80 right now. That's the heat index. 76 at Canyon Lake, 75 Castroville, 77 is what it feels like at Pleasanton. Mold is extremely high. Went up for about the third day in a row, almost at 15,000. Fall Elm, a little bit of that is showing up. Of course, the updated allergen count is going to be coming out in about an hour and a half or so. So temperatures will stay pretty steady this morning, and then later on this afternoon, we will see one or two of those showers trying to pop up around here. We're going to be at 85 degrees at noon and then top off again right around 95 today. 30% chance for scattered shower or thunderstorm or two. So in other words, kind of like yesterday, most of us won't see any rain, and then even lesser rain chances. Can't take it completely off the table, but lesser rain chances over the weekend, and that'll be the situation going into the start of next week. However, then the middle part of next week, more decent shots at rain. It's encouraging forecast. Great way to end up August and start off the month of September. Details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, been pretty quiet over there, Steve.
Yes, but this is that hour where things really start to pick up there, Mike. Thankfully, nothing major. Just a few more folks out there this early in the morning. There is 37 at Indian Hills. You can see not really a whole lot of traffic out there, and it's still very dark. So just be careful if you have to head out the door and get on the roads in the next few moments. But thankfully, as we get that drive around town, or take that drive, 410 at Jackson Keller, places look pretty quiet, and that's great. And we're seeing the same situation there on the map that we continue to show you. This is probably about the 5th time that we bring up this same graphic, and that's great because anybody that has to drive off into the weekend a little bit earlier really won't have any trouble doing so. But taking you to those travel times, if the destination is going to be here in the Alamo City, well, let's see how long it'll take you, because 25 minutes I-10 eastbound heading in from Bernie, 281 southbound traveling in from Bulverde is about a 28-minute drive time, and 28 minutes is what you can expect from I-35 southbound heading in from New Braunfels. So no worries there. Things look great. If you're still at home and think you need to head out the door in a rush, really just try to enjoy it while you can. The morning commute isn't looking too bad at this hour, guys.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, we're gathering new details on an overnight shooting on the city's northwest side. SAPD says a man in his 20s was shot at the Amber Hill Apartments on Glenridge Drive near Loop 410. The man told police he heard a bang and was shot while working on his car. He was taken to University Hospital in critical condition. So far, the only description of a suspect was a man wearing baggy clothing.
Meanwhile, police have arrested a suspect from a shooting that happened almost a year ago. Letitia Satanawa is behind bars on a $100,000 bond. And according to an arrest affidavit, she is accused of shooting another woman 4 times last September on the east side. Now, this happened on Creswell Drive, not far from East Houston and Loop 410. Investigators say she pulled up next to the victim and shot her several times before taking off. She is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Looking ahead, Uvalde students getting ready to head back to school for the first time since the shooting at Robb Elementary. Returning to classroom after tragedy, something the Santa Fe community near Houston has already lived through. They had their own school shooting. So the Santa Fe School District Police Chief is now offering some help, saying they're only a phone call away. Chief Ruben Espinoza recalls the struggles of gaining community trust, along with mentally and physically preparing for a new year after a tragedy.
Remain steadfast. Be visible, answer questions as best they can, reassure community and kids and staff members that they're going to do the best they can in keeping them safe.
We did ask Chief Espinoza about Pete Arredondo's firing over in Uvalde. He declined to comment on that, but he says the superintendent and the school board there will have a big role in hiring a new chief. Again, at this time, Mike Hernandez is still the interim chief at Uvalde CISD.
And day 4 of the Nichelle Nichols public corruption trial continues this morning. During day 3, a county employee who worked for Nichols took the stand. She is former Precinct 2 clerk Susan Tristan. She said the Precinct 2 constable's office had a chaotic make-it-up-as-you-go work environment. Now, Tristan told the court that she resigned in the fall of 2019, shortly after the Texas Rangers and FBI raided Nichols County's offices. Now, Tristan and a second civilian employee told the jury about the destruction of paperwork and creation of new security agreements while Nichols was still in charge.
How do you know that the constable created this other security agreement?
I was there at the time when they were creating it.
And this particular document, there's some handwriting on it. Whose handwriting is that?
Nichelle Vela.
But you are certain that the administration that told you to destroy documents was Constable Vela's administration?
That is correct.
Now, if convicted, Nichols faces up to 10 years in prison. This trial is focused solely on accusations that she tampered with park security logs and turned over fake records for them. Week 1 of this trial wraps up later this morning, and we are covering the entire proceedings. You can watch them live on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, or on our YouTube channel.
6:06, week 1 of our big game coverage continues tonight here in the Alamo City. A look at 3 matchups to stream on the BGC app. First up, Brandeis and O'Connor. An intense rivalry as both teams feel like they have something to prove. Brandeis has won 7 of the 11 all-time matchups between these two teams. Also tonight, Wagner versus Liberty Hill. This one happening at Panther Stadium at Liberty Hill. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. And history will be made the moment Sotomayor High School takes to the field Friday night. Wildcats will play their first varsity football game in program history against Lee. The Volunteers looking for their own fresh start after finishing 1-9 overall in 2021. Well, happening this weekend, the inaugural KSAT Pigskin Classic. 6 local high school football teams will be taken to the field at the Alamouto for an action-packed full day of football.
All right, Jonathan Cotto joins us live from the Dome where it's all taking place with everything you need to know if you're planning on heading out tomorrow. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Stephanie, and that's right. A lot of football is going to be taking place here inside of the Alamouto tomorrow, and I have all the information you need to know. So if you haven't bought your tickets, don't worry. There is still plenty of time. But let's talk about what you can expect, and more importantly, what you need to know about our very first KSAT Pigskin Classic. Like, who's going to be taking the field? So let's pull up a graphic and talk about the high school football teams that are going to be playing tomorrow at the Classic. The 6 football teams from around San Antonio will be participating in this event. We have Brennan, Johnson, Judson, Reagan, Smithson Valley, and Steele High Schools who will all be playing at the KSAT Pigskin Classic. The first of 3 games in the Pigskin Classic will kick off at 11:30 a.m. Now take note, the doors will open at 10:30 in the morning. 11:30 a.m. kickoff for Smithson Valley versus Reagan. 2:30 p.m. we have post-game coverage with KSAT 12's Greg Simmons and David Sears. 3:30 p.m. kickoff for Judson versus Johnson. And 6:30 p.m. post-game coverage with KSAT 12's David Sears, Larry Ramirez, and Greg Simmons. 7:30 p.m. kickoff for Steele versus Brandon. Now, general admission tickets are good for all 3 games, and they are already on sale and can be purchased at all Las Palapas locations around San Antonio. On the day of the game, tickets can be purchased here at the Alamouto at the Northeast and Southeast box offices starting at 9:30 in the morning. Now, you can also purchase KSAT Insider VIP experience tickets for a perfect view from the press box. There'll be swag, visits from KSAT reporters and anchors, food, and so many other surprises. Now, all sports fans ages 3 and older must have a ticket. Now, all games will be broadcasted here on KSAT 12, the KSAT Plus app, and the Big Game Coverage app, and of course on our website, KSAT.com. It's important to mention parking will be $20. Credit cards are the only thing that is accepted, no cash. And of course, the Alamouto will have a clear bag policy, but we'll have all that information for you coming up in the next half hour. Reporting live outside of the Alamouto, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. And of course, San Antonio area bands are gearing up for the big football season ahead.
It's extra special for a senior over at Judson High School, set to perform at the KSAT Pigskin Classic tomorrow. Her name is Blessing, and she says the entire experience of football is new to her. Her family migrated from Africa when she was only a toddler, but they quickly adapted to culture, and the latest adventure is learning everything about football here in Texas. All right. The senior is a color guard captain. She says she joined because she loves the moment and the movement, and the combination of music in their performances.
And all the action of the KSAT Pigskin Classic is coming up tomorrow. Just scan this QR code on your screen for everything you need to know about the tickets, the clear bag policy, and the parking at the Alamouto. Some of the things that Jonathan Cotto was talking about. We also have this information on our website at ksat.com.
Yeah, parking is not free, so heads up. Credit card only, $20. 610 right now, 78 degrees.
And coming up, we're keeping an eye on KSAT.com. After the break, a look at some of the news stories trending right now.
Outside with Live Cam, get a Friday football forecast for those outdoor games today. We kind of know what to expect, but we want to get an update on any potential rain or storm chances this weekend with Mike Osterhage straight ahead. Trending now on KSAT.com, we're going behind the kitchen door, otherwise known as BKD. In the latest report, Tim Gerber checked out 3 local restaurants, received low inspection scores for ants, roaches, and employee hygiene or lack thereof. If you want to know who has good scores and who doesn't, we have a new tool for that. Click on the link in the web story and it'll take you to a new mapping tool showing you recent local scores. The reports go back 2 years and are frequently updated. Don't miss those BKD reports with Tim Gerber Thursdays on the KSAT Night Beat.
And good news for college students. A new study by home amenity company Porch is ranking the San Antonio, New Braunfels area as the 12th most budget-friendly area for college students looking to rent an apartment. Now that is important because many college students struggle to find adequate affordable housing options. And according to the study, California's Bay Area ranked the most expensive for college renters, followed by New York's tri-state region and the San Diego area.
Coming to the Pearl, 1100 Springs Plaza will offer a space for visitors to relax, socialize, and eat. The plaza is set to open in October and be located in front of the Full Goods building. The name refers to the water system that forms the rivers in the Texas Hill Country. Check out pictures of the website. Check them out. Look for this story right there on our homepage at ksat.com.
And I see flashing lights out there at Highway 281 in St. Mary's. Let's check in with Stephen Cavazos.
Yeah, this is in the northbound lanes of 281. We're looking at a stalled vehicle. It's not causing major issues for drivers, but watch out because this is going to be off in the shoulder lane, as you can see from that shot at TransGuide. The driver does have their emergency lights on in their vehicle, so just watch out for those hero trucks. They're working to help that driver out, so make sure to move over or slow down. Those are the rules of the road, but you can see traffic through there is already picking up along 281, one of the other busy spots that we tend to see where their slowdowns happen a little bit later on this morning. Taking it to the map, though, we're really not picking up any of the red there on the screen, which is great. You can see a lot of green out there, but their work will continue in a lot of these places. Construction work, I should say. One of the areas that we will see work take place is going to be there along 281 over on the north side of San Antonio. We already know this is one of those major pain spots for drivers, but bridge work will continue tonight, and it will start at 8 in the evening and wrap around 5 tomorrow morning. That's when drivers will see that full closure of the intersection at Overlook Parkway. So just watch out for those crews out there. And of course, watch out for TxDOT hero trucks like this. They also have their road flares set up right there, helping that driver out. The TxDOT hero trucks, great resource for any stranded motorists on the highway, guys.
Thank you, Stephen. Friday night football tonight. Let's check in with JV coach Mike Osterhage.
It's fun that football's getting back going.
Yeah, started last night, and then we're in full effect tonight.
Yeah, a lot of games tonight. Of course, the 3 big games tomorrow over there at the Dome. That's going to be nice, as we've been talking about being in the Dome tomorrow, watching all those games, you know, just the nice steady temperatures, and you don't have to worry about anything. This morning, a lot of humidity out there, 77 degrees, and throughout the rest of the day, we will see a couple of showers popping up, maybe a thunderstorm or two. 30% chance for some rain. That's going to be about at 95 for high temperatures. So it is going to be hotter than we've seen the past couple of days, and that's due in part to the fact that we do have getting up to normal temperatures out there. And interesting picture, almost looks a little bit on the Erie side. That sunset there with those clouds, those ominous clouds kind of hanging out. And thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. All right, live cam right now. And as you can see, we do have a lot of clouds hanging around here, even a few breaks as of right now. Speaking of football, for all the games tonight, not bad. Typical South Texas start of the season. Very warm, very humid, 92 degrees at kickoff right around 7 o'clock, and then 88 at halftime. Partly cloudy skies, a little bit of a breeze out of the east, so you won't need a jacket heading to the games tonight. 78 degrees right now, 75 Canyon Lake, 74 in Divine, and we'll stay in the pretty steady over the next couple of hours with some of those clouds hanging around here. 85 at noon, and that's when we're going to start to see that small rain chance kind of come back into the picture. 30% chance, like I said, most of us aren't going to be seeing any rain like yesterday. However, if you do, could have a fairly decent downpour, and we get up to 95 later on today, which again is the average temperature. And as far as the computer model, I think this one does a very good job of keeping a couple of clouds around here and there. Sunshine mixed in with a few clouds this afternoon, one or two of those showers kind of popping up here. Notice how everything is still coming down here from the south, or from the north to south. We still have that flow moving from north to south, sort of wrapping around a big area of high pressure off to the west of us. And again, a couple of showers out there. And then once the sun goes down, those will start to die down. Going to tomorrow, some clouds starting off in the morning and throughout the day. Sunshine mixed in with the clouds. This model doesn't even show any rain out there. I think there'll be a 10% chance. In other words, you can't just completely rule out a shower or two tomorrow. Same thing on Sunday, Monday, but very, very few and far between at best. 86 degrees, partly cloudy skies at noon, and then high temperature today is going to make it up to 95. One or two showers, thunderstorm out there. Tomorrow, lesser chance of rain. Sunday, Monday as well. Staying pretty hot and steamy all the way through Monday, and then another decent rain chance is going to move back in here by the middle of next week. So last day of August is on Wednesday. We'll go out with a couple of showers, and we welcome September on the below normal side. Below normal side, and we'll wait to see if the tropics really start cooking in the next month. You know, the Hurricane Center had come out with they always come out with a forecast and then sort of update it once they go in a couple of months into it. And even though it was very, very slow, they still say it's going to be somewhat of an above normal season. Now, the peak of the season comes in just a couple of weeks on the 10th of September. But, I mean, there's two little spots out there in the Atlantic right now that are watched, but nothing yet. Nothing yet, the operative word. Well, yeah. All right, thank you, Mike. 6:20, 78 degrees.
And coming up after the break, Twitter is bringing a new feature to their platform to keep up with other services like Spotify. We're going to explain next.
Ladies, 6 minutes, please. This is my life. It's not always picture perfect. Plus, I'm dealing with bleeding from uterine fibroids. Enter MyFembry, a once-daily pill for women with heavy menstrual bleeding due to uterine fibroids.
With MyFembry, heavy bleeding went down by 84%. Serious risks include heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. Don't take MyFembry if you've had any of these or have uncontrolled high blood pressure, are over 35 and smoke, could be pregnant, or have or had osteoporosis, liver disease, undiagnosed vaginal bleeding, certain cancers, or an allergic reaction to it. Don't use longer than 2 years as bone loss may occur. Pregnancy loss can occur and changes in periods may make it hard to know if you're pregnant. If you think you are, stop taking it right away. Other risks are depression, suicidal thoughts or actions, abnormal liver tests, high blood pressure, and passing of the fibroid.
Less bleeding, same life? I'll take it.
Ask your doctor about MyFembry.
My life, MyFembry.
An ABC News exclusive. A 6-year-old's quick thinking helping her narrowly escape an alleged kidnapping attempt in broad daylight.
It's forever etched in our minds, that scream.
The Ohio family's surveillance video capturing it all. You can see Kennedy just steps from her front door, taking out the trash. When the stranger appears, police say he tried to drag her, Kennedy letting out a piercing scream. The man quickly letting go, the whole encounter lasting less than 10 seconds.
I'm so proud of her.
And now Kennedy and her parents are sharing their harrowing story.
He wouldn't have let go of her if she wouldn't have pulled and screamed like she did.
Coming up at 7 a.m., more of our exclusive interview and what the girl's father did that helped police catch the suspect. With your GMA First Look, I'm Ariel Reshef, ABC News, New York.
In your consumer headlines, Instagram limiting sensitive content for new users under age 16. Those accounts will have the most restrictive settings by default. The goal is to shield teens from inappropriate content like sex and violence. Instagram will recommend that existing teen users also make the switch.
And Twitter is testing a new version of its Spaces tab that will offer podcasts. The tab will include titles from Vox, NPR, and other sources. The podcast will be broken down by category and be featured alongside similar spaces.
And Instacart has a new feature that might inspire your picks at the grocery store. It's called Carts. It will display items on celebrity shopping lists. Rapper Lizzo will be one of the first appearing in an ad showing her using the app while sitting in her bathtub.
That's cute. Time now 6:25 and 77 degrees for now.
Still ahead on our 6:30 half hour. Katrina Weber joins us live with new details on an overnight shooting on the city's northwest side.
And there's a lot of high school football action coming up tonight and this weekend. Jonathan Cotto is standing by at the Alamouto with an inside look at the KSAT Pigskin Classic.
And Steve Cavazos is standing by. He will provide us with a live update on traffic. 35 at Thousand Oaks. It's like everybody left all at once in that part of town. And we're still tracking these flashing lights and a few flares at 281 near St. Mary's. We'll be back.
San Antonio police say someone took aim at a man who was working on his car. That man now in critical condition. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. San Antonio police still looking for the shooter. I'll tell you more about it.
Good morning, I'm Jonathan Cotto. We are talking all things KSAT Pigskin Classic that will be taking place here at the Alamouto tomorrow. So with that comes the conversation of safety and of course parking. We'll have everything you need to know coming up on GMSA.
I'm ABC's M1 in Washington. A federal judge ordered the DOJ to today release the affidavit that was used to support the FBI's raid of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Those details coming up.
We know you're busy getting ready to head out the door, but take a quick moment and look at your screen right now. Dawn's early light over South Texas and San Antonio. It is a Friday morning. Glad you're with us. It is August 26th.
Yeah, it looks beautiful out there.
Gorgeous start to the day.
I love that. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. Excited about Friday and excited about tomorrow as well.
Let's see if there's any potential for rain throughout the weekend, including Friday night football, Mr. Osterhage.
Yeah, right. You know, by the time most games get going, any rain is going to be sort of dying down. Most of it happens in the late afternoon, right around dinner time. There's the small chance for a couple of showers, thunderstorm out there like we had yesterday, but most all of us are not going to be seeing anything today, and then even lesser chances for rain as we go on into the weekend. Couple of morning clouds out there, but yeah, it's an awful pretty sunrise on tap here in town. 78 degrees, dew point stands at 72, so there's still plenty of humidity out there. You'll notice it when you step outside this morning. Heat index 80 at the airport, 76s from Stinson, Pleasanton, Converse, and low 70s in portions of the hill country. Mold really went up yesterday, third day in a row. It's sky high, 14,850. The updated count is going to come out in about an hour or so. A little bit of fall elm has been showing up as well. So warm and humid. And then later on today, just a couple of showers or a thunderstorm out there. Mid 90s, so this will be even a couple of notches hotter than what it was yesterday. We got up to 93 degrees, just enough sunshine to heat us up, and I think just enough sunshine to heat us up that much more. And that's going to be the situation into the weekend. Mid 90s, humidity, a shower or two, even fewer. I've got 10% chance for any rain this weekend. Just can't completely rule it out, but hardly see anything. But we will see more showers coming in here the middle part of next week. We're going to start off on the hot side Monday, and then lower temperatures, better rain chances midweek. Details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority is going along pretty good, and then got some lights.
We do. But, you know, we do have that pretty sunrise and, you know, some pretty roads there at 35. It's Enmatcos to match that. But other areas, of course, we are seeing the issues pick up. You're there, you're really not going to encounter any problems. But we know we still have that stalled vehicle out there at 281. Let's just take a quick drive around town as you can see what traffic is looking like there. We have that stalled vehicle in the northbound lanes of 281, so watch out if you have to head out there. The good news is it doesn't look like it's causing any issues for traffic. In fact, 35 at Thousand Oaks, it just looks like it's getting a little bit busy. So watch out and expect a few slowdowns as the morning does pick up. But taking you to the map, nothing major reported out there just yet. So we have to watch it carefully this morning, especially as a lot more folks are getting ready to drive off into the weekend. But if you're going to be traveling into San Antonio, well, those travel times really aren't showing too bad of a commute there. 29 minutes, still pretty pleasant from I-37 northbound in Pleasanton. Half an hour drive time, Highway 90 in the eastbound lanes, traveling in from Castroville, and about 18 minutes your arrival from Lytle in the northbound lanes of 35. So no trouble there, and taking you back there to TransGuide. Just a few more cars out there this morning. It's about to get busy, so just prepare for some slowdowns as the morning does pick up. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen. This morning, doctors are working to save a man who was shot while working on his car. It happened at an apartment complex on the city's northwest side.
Katrina Weber's live where it happened near 410 and Evers. And Katrina, it looks quiet now, but as you mentioned, things were very different just a few hours ago.
Well, that's right. At one point, police had this whole street blocked off as they investigated and searched for the shooter. Now, even though they're gone now, this case is still unsolved as far as we know. Police got the call about this around midnight, a little bit before. They say a man in his 20s told them he was working on a car at the Amber Hill Apartments. He says he heard a bang, then realized he'd been shot. That man was rushed to a hospital by ambulance, and he was in critical condition, according to police. Now, they say that they have not found the shooter just yet. The only description they had is that he was a man dressed in baggy clothing. Reporting live on the Northwest Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. And this morning, final preparations are underway for the KSAT Pigskin Classic, and there's a few things you should know before heading out.
Absolutely. Jonathan Cotto joins us live from the Alamouto near downtown with more on that. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Stephanie. And that's right. One of the things that you should know is that if you haven't purchased your ticket for KSAT's Pigskin Classic, there is still plenty of time to do so. But let's talk about the real things you should know here right now. And it's an area that can get really, really tricky. I'm talking about parking here at the Alamouto. If we can show a graphic of those parking locations, you're seeing that on your screen right now. Parking is $20 per vehicle. Cash is no longer an option for paying to park. So have your credit cards ready to go. Most major credit cards will be accepted, and access to the Alamouto parking can be found at the following. You have lots A through D. Now, lot A is located off of Highway 37, the North Access Road. Lots B and C are located off Cherry Street, and lot D is located off of Tower of America's Way and Montana Street. Now, lot A does provide ADA accessible parking and an accessible drop-off pickup for people with disabilities. And we also have to mention safety, which is absolutely paramount. The Alamo does have a clear bag policy that will be in effect for the KSAT Pigskin Classic. On your screen are the rules regarding permitted bags. You have small bags and or clutches, the dimensions for that, the clear bags, plastic, vinyl, or PVC. And of course, 1 gallon clear freezer bags will be allowed. That's, for example, Ziploc bags or similar to that. And of course, medically necessary bags will be allowed. But of course, we'll have more on those specifications on our website, ksat.com. Now, it's also important to note, Mark, Stephanie, that no tailgating will be allowed out in the parking lot of the Alamouto. For a complete list of what is and what is not allowed, you can visit our website, ksat.com. Reporting live outside of the Alamouto, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
And all the action is coming up tomorrow. Just scan the QR code on your screen for everything you need to know about tickets, the clear bag policy, and parking at the Alamouto. We also have this information on our website at ksat.com.
Week 1 of your big game coverage continues tonight here in the Alamo City area as a look at 3 matchups to stream on our big game coverage or BGC app. First up, Brandeis versus O'Connor, an intense rivalry as both teams feel like they have something to prove this season. Brandeis has won 7 of the 11 matchups between these two teams. Also tonight, Wagner versus Liberty Hill. This one is happening at Panther Stadium at Liberty Hill. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. And history will be made the moment that Sotomayor High School takes to the field tonight. Wildcats play their first varsity football game in program history against Lee. The Volunteers looking for their own fresh start after finishing last year at 1-9.
And don't forget to download the Big Game Coverage app. You can stream games, get real-time scores, highlights, schedules, and more. New and improved BGC app is free on Apple or Google Play Store.
There is other news this morning. The clock ticking down for the Justice Department to make public a redacted version of the affidavit used to support the FBI raid on former President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
The judge set a noon deadline for the DOJ to release the document. ABC's Wen has the latest from Washington.
This morning, we could find out why the FBI took the unprecedented step of searching Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. The Justice Department now facing a noon deadline to release its redacted version of the affidavit used to justify the FBI's August 8th raid, where agents seized more than 11 sets of classified documents.
It's an effort to strike a balance by the magistrate between, on one hand, the government's desire to keep its investigation intact and public's interest in knowing what this is all about.
The DOJ sticking by its argument against making the affidavit public, saying they're very concerned about the safety of the witnesses and warning that releasing it could jeopardize the investigation. But the same judge that approved the search says the department has proposed redactions tailored to serve the government's legitimate interest in the integrity of the ongoing investigation.
If all of that evidence is disclosed to the public, then the Department of Justice is very concerned that the investigation will be impeded.
Back to the public affidavit we're expecting later today. Experts say they believe it will include little meaningful information with pages of blacked out lines. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Firefighters in California battling a large brush fire near LA in the Angeles National Forest. They're calling it the East Fire. It was first spotted Thursday afternoon. ABC in LA reports the blaze spread past 96 acres, sending thick smoke into the air above the mountains as firefighters work to put it out with tankers and helicopters. No structures were immediately threatened, but there are power lines in that area.
And the CDC is investigating more cases in an E. coli outbreak connected to Wendy's restaurants in 4 states. For now, the total number of cases has reached 84. 38 patients had to go to the hospital for treatment. The CDC is looking at the romaine lettuce on sandwiches and trying to figure out if that could be the source of the outbreak.
6:39, about 77 degrees.
And still ahead, we are celebrating man's best friend in a big way all morning. How you can show off your photos of your fur babies a little later today on KSAT.
Today is National Dog Day, and of course, many of us can use any excuse to show off photos of our furry family members.
That's right. You can do that today. So submit your photo and a sentence or two about your pup for a chance to be featured on air. KSAT News Now will share some of the photos later this morning, while Alicia Beretta and RJ Marcus with KSAT News Now visit the San Antonio Humane Society to celebrate the holiday. Just head over to this story on our website at KSAT.com. KSAT News Now starts at 11 a.m., so you can watch that on the KSAT News app, YouTube, and of course KSAT.com.
Check this out. In honor of National Dog Day, J-Dog Junk Removal in Halling is hosting an adoption event for San Antonio Pets Alive today. Foster animals currently in foster care will also be available. Best part, all the cat and dog adoptions are free. The event runs from 1 to 6 p.m. at the City of San Antonio Animal Care Services Annex and San Antonio's Pets Alive Building 1 Rescue Center. For more information, visit sanantoniopetsalive.org.
And a lot more people are headed out on the roadways this Friday morning, but it still looks like things are moving, Stephen.
Yeah, and actually a really pretty shot here right behind me at 35 North at Loop 410. Let's get a wider shot. I'll have to take a selfie a little bit later on, but you can see there traffic moving out there without any trouble. Really, the morning's been pretty nice for a lot of these commuters, so if you have to head out in the next few minutes, no need to rush. Just remember, you'll see some slowdowns, but nothing major just yet. Taking you to the map, it's almost been the same scenario that we've showed you throughout the morning. Just a lot of those quiet and empty roadways, but always make sure that you plan your commute ahead of time. We have a full list of construction spots on our website at ksat.com/traffic. However, we also know people have road trips outside of the Alamo City, so we'll check those gas prices one last time here for our friends here in Bexar County. $3.28 is the average gas price reported from AAA as of today. In Comal County, $3.31 is the average gas price. In Guadalupe County, you can expect at least $3.30. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier. AAA also reported that Texas has one of the least expensive markets in the country. So that's some good news, and hopefully that does give people a little bit more relief. But right now, as we get one last shot at 35 North at Loop 410, traffic is moving without any trouble, and they have a nice view as well.
Good it's beautiful out there. So we also were told today's National Toilet Paper Day, and Mike started, he stirred the pot. Yeah. I mean, kicked the hornet's nest. And the debate is...
Oh, not to put you on the spot.
Over or under?
For the toilet paper roll.
The toilet paper roll.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the conventional thinking is there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong. Okay. Vasos?
I say under.
Under. Mark?
Over.
I have no idea. I just put it on there. I don't even know what's going on.
Mike?
Over.
Over. Okay. Right. In case people were wondering, which they probably weren't.
I'll have to check when I get home.
You know, but the thing is, everybody's going to now start Because you start thinking about that. So.
Funny.
All right, beautiful view out there, and we just got a smattering of clouds as of right now. Temperatures are in the mid and upper 70s throughout much of the area, and we'll keep a few clouds around this morning. Make it up into the low 80s as we go into the, well, just after the morning commute, and then 86 at noon. We'll start to see a small chance for some rain. Just a couple of showers out there, kind of like yesterday. Most everybody didn't see any rain. That's going to be the case today, and there'll be enough sunshine out there to get us up to 95 degrees, actually a couple of notches warmer than what it was yesterday. And here's the rapid update computer model. Again, this one's doing a pretty good job of showing just one or two of those stray showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there. Few and far between. If you do get one of them, though, like has been the case the past couple of days, could have some fairly hefty downpours coming pretty quickly. And then those will start to die off once we get into the evening hours. Go into tomorrow, and we will have some clouds in the morning, and then later on in the afternoon, one or two of the showers trying to pop up here or there. Much lesser chance for rain tomorrow. Also on Sunday, also on Monday. And here's a longer range computer model, and this pretty much shows that going into the weekend. One or two showers out there tomorrow afternoon, maybe. Same thing on Sunday, Monday. Then we go into Tuesday, and we'll have some more clouds around here. An okay chance of rain, but that rain chance is going to start to go up as we go into Wednesday as well as Thursday. So we're going to finish up the month with a shot at some rain. Going to start off September with a shot at some rain and also some below normal temperatures, which will be a very welcome sight around here compared to the way the month started off. Yes, we did hit, I was counting 7 times we've hit triple digits this month. We started off with about 5 days in a row. Remember, the 3rd and 4th got up to 103. Nothing like that in the forecast. 86 degrees, partly cloudy skies at noon today, and then high temperature is going to make it up to 95. A couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms out there. One or two of them, very few and far between. And over the weekend, basically just going to be hot and humid. Can't completely rule out a stray shower here or there, but not likely at all. And we'll start off the week, next week, at 95 degrees. Then temperatures will continue to drop off going into midweek with temperature with rain chances going up as well. I'm putting them right now about a 40% chance for a couple of showers or thunderstorms out there Wednesday and Thursday. And finish up the month at 91, start off September at 91. That's nice.
Very nice.
Compared to how we started off a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the past.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. And don't forget, tomorrow is the big day, so we are live all morning from the Alamouto as we kick off the KSAT Pigskin Classic. Get your phones out and click on this QR code.
There you will find everything you need to know before game day. Team coverage starts at 6 a.m. They can catch the action throughout the day right here on KSAT 12.
And taking a look at live cam this Friday morning. Just enjoy this beautiful shot out there. 77 degrees right now and humid. We'll be right back.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, the latest on new developments in the Mar-a-Lago search fallout. The key document justifying the FBI raid on former President Trump's Florida home is set to be released. Now we'll get into where the investigation might be headed next. And we have an exclusive interview with the family of a 6-year-old girl who narrowly escaped an attempted abduction, all caught on camera. The family's message for all other parents this morning. And Elton John and Britney Spears dropping their much anticipated collaboration overnight. We're going to break that down. And you don't want to miss our GMA summer concert series, Ozuna, performing live in Central Park.
San Antonio police have 2 big questions about a late-night shooting here on the northwest side. Who did it and why? Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. That shooting happened right here at the Amber Hill Apartments late last night. Now, police got the call shortly before midnight. They had to shut down this whole road, which is not far from Loop 410 and Evers Road, as they investigated and searched for the shooter. The victim, who's in his 20s, says he was working on his car. He says he heard a bang, then realized he'd been shot. Medics then rushed him to a hospital. The last word we had is that man, who's in his 20s, was in critical condition. Police have not found the shooter, who was described as wearing baggy clothes. Reporting from the northwest side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Katrina, thank you. We're still excited, counting down to the KSAT Pigskin Classic tomorrow, but nobody's more excited than our sports department.
Yeah, that's right. They have been putting in a lot of hard work for this full day of football. Today on GMSA at 9, Greg Simmons will be up bright and early to talk to us more about this first-of-its-kind event for KSAT.
We're excited about Greg coming in. David Sears is going to be joining the conversation, too. Plus, we're going to have a live one-on-one with a retired astronaut about the historic Artemis 1 mission set to launch on Monday. Actually, we're talking to that expert on Monday. I think we're doing two separate things.
Okay.
One today.
But we have an interview today.
I confused it. That's my fault.
Yeah.
We're talking to an expert today and a retired astronaut on Monday.
Both
there we
at
go.
GMSA
That's
at 9.
right.
That's right. So for now, let's go ahead and check in with Stephen Cavazos.
Great reasons to tune in on Friday, today, and then again on Monday. All right, let's get a look at the roadways. 410 at Old Pearsall. Actually, I'm really surprised we made it through the morning without any major incidents on the roadway, but it is a pretty busy time now. 281 at San Pedro, you can see that we have a stretch of vehicles already making their way to work, so just drive carefully this morning. We made it through the morning without any major issues, so taking you to the map, typically we tend to see some slowdowns out there along US 90 and 35. Still in the green, so that's some good news. But as we take one last look there at TransGuide, just remember to drive safe. We're going to have more updates on your commute throughout the morning. Not sure what's going on there at I-10 at Woodstone, but we'll watch things closely. And as always, just make sure to drive safe. Mike?
Good looking sunrise this morning. Just a couple of clouds hanging around here right now. Temperature stands at 77, 74 Port SA, and some low 70s parts of the hill country. We'll make it up to 86 at noon, 95. One or two showers out there, just here or there, about a 30% chance for some rain. It's humid right now.